through this war, Azerbaijan is trying to create a new situation where at least two of the three principles, namely resolving the issue peacefully and people's right to self-determination, set forth by the OSCE Minsk group co-chairs, are violated. What can be done to stop the war? What can the EU do in this regard?
EU is sending and engaging in their messaging, because at this moment nothing can be done more than the leaders from Azerbaijan and Armenia can do. It's up to both of them to find courage and to stop the conflict that has resulted already in numerous victims. And in starting this program, I would like to express my condolences to all those victims, their families, and their loved ones, and all those who were made refugees by this conflict, because we know that all the conflict provokes human victims first and numerous suffering, as I'm coming from the area that has gone through that. And in my personal experience, I know that no one can really bring you back your loved ones. I think that what we really need at this moment is the courage and a vision from these two leaders to stop and to go back to the negotiating table.
Yeah. When talking about the overall human rights, democratic situation in the country, many experts say that one reason Azerbaijani's president wants to continue this war is to divert their public's attention from their internal problems, let's say. What do you think about this? Is this war really to somehow excuse in internal politics for Azerbaijan?
I'm not going into the motivation for this conflict, and it takes two to tango, so it doesn't mean that one's internal situation could provoke the escalation of these measures solely. So if we are trying to be an honest broker, what European Union is trying to be in this case, and I think that it will be really beneficial as well that these two leaders are addressing more towards the EU for brokering this peace, because I can see that they I mean, their diplomacy is quite engaged. But if you want to have a response from the side of the EU, you also have to ask for the help in these peace negotiations and in this dialogue. So this is something that the EU could offer, and the EU could work on it, because what the EU is offering all this time is a hope for normal citizens to have human rights protected and to have a safe environment to live in.
But in these days, what we have real in the table is that we have only condemnation from the European side. Do you think that what we can do to go behind these condemnations? Because we stay in the phase of be very concerned, and nothing else is done. Where is the problem?
You can't expect anything more until you have the courage from your side as well to stop. And once the fire and retaliation has stopped, then the EU will encourage and will welcome all these efforts. But EU is not a superpower in the weapons. It will not, as I have said in my speech, also in the plenary when we were discussing this terrible situation, EU does not export mercenaries or weapons. EU exports values and also offering solutions for negotiations.
Yes. You were in Armenia after the Velvet Revolution. What were your impressions?
My impressions were, I was in Armenia before and after the Velvet Revolutions with Foreign Affairs Committee, and I was also before in a visit to Azerbaijan and Georgia. And my impression in Armenia at that time was that there is, after the new government was established, that there was a will to advance towards all these helping hand that European Union is offering, and we had a strong cooperation. We also have a party cooperation from the Armenian side with European parties. So there were signals of hope.
Yeah. So, my question was like because the EU has always been very encouraging with its neighborhood partners to help in realizing reforms, etc. Even in these days when war is going on in an extremely hard way, the Armenian population is briefed every day by government what's going on in the front line, and there are no internet limitations, all platforms are accessible. I mean, from democratic and human rights angle, Armenia and Azerbaijan are not comparable, if we can say like this. Having this in mind and the fact that you know both countries very well, you have visited, what should the EU change in long-term relations concerning Armenia? Do you think there is something to change?
EU does not change. Only the countries that want to accept a closer partnership with the European Union can change, because EU is the project of peace that has made a success in the last 70 years. So if you have made it and if it is successful, why would we change ourselves? There is nothing that we will change. We will stick to the principles that were established, and we will continue regardless and despite of all the pleas for having biased approach. We will stick to this same principle that has made us as a moral global symbol of values and not being biased.
Well, since 27th of September, 3 ceasefire agreements were on the table, and 3 of them, unfortunately, were violated. For the international community, both sides accuse each other, and it's hard to understand what's going on. And really, the monitoring mechanism before the war and now are still being on the agenda of the international community, and the Armenian side as well spoke up about the necessity of this mechanism. Do you think this mechanism is the core or heart of the sustainable peace?
Of course, the monitoring mechanism and international observers at this conflict, independent, that will be agreed from both sides, that's necessary to observe and to establish the facts. Because in every war, I remember the saying, there's a my side, your side, and the truth. So in order to find out the truth and to find out the best solution to come out of this impasse, you need to have and to invite observers and to establish the mechanism that will observe a ceasefire. I mean, we have seen so many pleas from both sides, but this is happening in every war. This is happening in every conflict. Once this was called, during the Balkan Wars, this was called pornography of war. So no pictures or massacres or anything, regardless of how heartbreaking this is, will not change the approach that we need to be honest broker in this case, because we need long-term solutions based on Minsk principles, as both sides have agreed, because we don't want anyone unhappy out of this outcome.
You mentioned about the importance of these 3 principles in your plenary speech as well, but unfortunately Azerbaijan doesn't accept the installation of this mechanism, and this is an obvious fact for the international community. How do you interpret this continuing refusal? Why don't they want a mechanism?
I mean, this is what they should answer. It's up to...
As a rapporteur, you didn't get any answer as well?
I mean, as a rapporteur, I can only establish and note the facts, if they have or if they have not accepted this mechanism for the monitoring. This is something that it should be there.
So it's not clear for you as well why they don't accept. Your political group, the EPP, strongly condemns Turkey's actions in Europe, in the region of South Caucasus. You as well, during your plenary speech, have highlighted the fact that third countries should not be involved in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. There is now undeniable evidence that Turkey is directly participating in this war through its own weapons, not only what it has sold to Azerbaijan, its own military personnel and through mercenaries from Syria and Libya. Should the EU be concerned about these? If yes, what should it do to change the situation? Because it's not only concerning the South Caucasus.
We have called on Turkey to stop inciting with inflammatory speeches. We will continue, and with imposing the measures that will also follow up our words. What I have called upon and what I have said is not being only me, it's being said also from all the international actors that are observing the development of this situation. Third party involvement in this case, it's not helping any side. So we are calling for calm down, and especially what we don't want to see is using this terrible situation for also raising up their profile among the communities in the European Union, because actually that is also one of the goals in using this terrible situation for domestic reasons. So we don't want, and I don't think that this suits neither Azerbaijan nor Armenia in a polarizing situation and these inflammatory talks. So weapons are being exported, mercenaries are being exported, and this is undeniable truth from all the sides. That's something that must be said, but this is a case in every war. I mean, if you have been in war zones, in war situations, this is something. You have mercenaries and the dogs of war who are coming there not to help, but also to make money on these tragedies.
Do you think that Europe is enough concerned, especially by these kind of actions, mercenaries, and in the region? Yeah.
Of course, Europe is concerned. I mean, you see this pandemic that is affecting strongly every citizen. It's decreasing also the income. You have lots of unhappy people who are also being radicalized, people who are from all sides, people who are using this conflict as well for their own purpose and for European Union and for the citizens for security of our citizens, and that is of the most concerns for us. This is not a good situation, and also we know that from all sides you have lots of descendants of these people living on European soil. So we are greatly affected, and personally I do care because I know these countries as I was visiting them, and I'm a rapporteur for Azerbaijan as well.
Yeah, and lastly, do you think that this time, having regard that Turkey have problem with Greece, with Cyprus, and now there was a statement, insulting statement concerning President Macron, that sanctions will be there? Limits are there and enough is enough, or no? Not yet.
Turkey is accession country still. We still have not made a decision whether this country is still accession country in accession, and I'm also IPA rapporteur for IPA 3 pre-accession programs, and we are financing 4 million refugees that live in that country. Turkey has taken the biggest burden from the wars in its vicinity, so we have to give credits for some of the burden that it shares for European Union. It's not easy to impose the sanction on a country that is also involved in hosting the refugees. We can send a warning, we can do whatever, but I think the Turkish civil society that we are financing still, and because we cut all the other contributions to Turkey, should do their work as well and should raise awareness what the true European values are, and to appease the atmosphere and not to help in this endeavor that their leadership is doing, because it doesn't help the country itself. So the sanctions for the accession country is not a solution, and I'm afraid, and we still don't have a unanimous decision in the Council on this respect.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome, and all the best for your citizens.
Thank you. Thank you.